Hey guys, in this boss fight video, we'll be talking about the boss, NUE. NUE is the first boss that you will encounter on the third mission, making him the third boss in the game. First, we'll be talking about the boss's abilities, then some of the recommended gear to use while fighting this boss. As you can see, NUE is a mostly lightning-based opponent. He also has poison-based attacks that are all connected to his tail. First, we'll talk about NUE's head-facing attacks. The first attack you saw there is a cone-based attack that NUE will always spit from his left to right shoulder. The easiest way to avoid this is by backstepping or simply charging to his left-facing shoulder, as again, he will always spit from his left shoulder to his right. This attack here that NUE is casting is his Lightning Strike ability. This is one of his deadliest abilities, as the lightning can stun lock you in place and it tracks. The easiest way to avoid this is by looking for the tell, which you can see when he attempts to roar into the sky and then the lightning comes down. There are always 4 strikes of lightning. The easiest way to avoid these is by simply counting to 4 and continuously running to avoid the damage. At mid to close range, NUE can cast one of 2 charge-based attacks. The first you see here, NUE will leap towards the player, exposing his soft yellow belly underside. If you are able to attack this region, those hits will be considered as critical hits, dealing increased damage. Second charging based attack is his roll. When NUE is in close to mid range of the player, he will attempt to face the player and then roll in their direction, leaving 3 lightning strike attacks behind him. Do not charge at him, as these attacks can again stun lock you. The last of NUE's front facing attacks is his swipes. This is usually a single swipe followed by a second if the player is either hit or within close enough proximity. However, if the player backs up fast enough, they can avoid the second swipe altogether. The tell for this attack is NUE will crouch down in a very aggressive stance and then swipe at the player. These attacks can be blocked, negating 100% of the damage, and this is the easiest way I recommend to deal with this. Now we'll move on to NUE's tail-based attacks. The most common of these is a double tail swipe. When the player is facing NUE's tail, NUE will crouch down, raising his backside, followed by a double tail swipe. The easiest way to avoid this is to back up after landing 2 to 3 hits on his back, or to block, as this will negate 100% of the damage. The next attack usually happens when you're on his side. NUE will spin in a 360 degrees rotation with his tail. The easiest way to avoid this attack is to simply block, as the attack is extremely fast. The last attack to note is the Poisonous Cloud attack. This attack is fairly slow and has an easy tell, as NUE leans forward and his tail will stick straight up into the air, spewing a poisonous cloud of gas directly in front of him. This poison will build up extremely fast on the player, and it is recommended that you avoid completely. Now that we've covered NUE's abilities, we can talk about the recommended gear to use while fighting this boss. Simply put, go with as much lightning and poison resistance as possible. During this level, you should find a few new relics that will have lightning based attributes, and you should put as many of these items on as possible, as the resistance will stack. I also recommend using water talismans if you have them available to you, as I found this to deal the most amount of additional damage possible. Also, if you picked up the Water Dragon Guardian Spirit from the submission of the previous zone, I highly recommend you use this, as it will deal the most increased damage while using its living weapon effect. Well, that about wraps it up for this boss fight video. If you guys found this video to be useful, please do give me a like, and if you have any questions at all, please leave a comment. I would love to be able to speak with you about this amazing game. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. 2, 3, 4,